everyone. We are Team 242 here to present the credit research report on Bharti Airtel Limited. Here is the agenda and roadmap of today's presentation.
Going forward with the executive summary, the diversified presence across geography and segments and the ability to mitigate the technological and regulatory changes provide for an excellent business risk. The solvency and distance to default is moderate because of high DE values, and the probability of default is 0.232%, which is a safe value. The financial and liquidity performance is good. The dip in revenue of Bharti Airtel India was offset by the modest performance of Bharti Airtel Africa. The outlook is stable because of optimum values of current ratio and quick ratio, and Bharti Airtel has the ability to raise funds for capital expenditure, and strong corporate governance policy in place enables the stable outlook of Bharti Airtel.
Let's have a quick snapshot of the company. Bharti Airtel Limited is one of the leading global telecommunications company which has its presence in more than 16 countries spread across Asia and Africa. Apart from that, it is headquartered in Delhi and it ranks third among the global mobile service providers in terms of subscribers, and with a revenue of rupees 806.8 billion and an EBITDA of 304.2, Airtel has a beaming presence of 95.3 pan-India coverage. Moving on to the evolution of Airtel. Bharti Airtel was born in 1995 in Delhi, and later it spread across other parts of the states, covering a pan-India, and reached the entire India coverage by 2005. Across its 23 years of successful journey, Bharti Airtel had numerous acquisitions in the past 7 years. In the past 7 years alone, they had 7 major acquisitions, with 3 acquisitions happening in 2017. Bharti Airtel was the first one to introduce 4G in the year 2014. With this successful journey, it was able to increase its customer base from 80 million in 2007 to more than 400 million customer base as of Jan 2018. Moving on to the Airtel's presence in Africa, it was in the year 2010 that Airtel was born in Africa with a major mergers and acquisition deal with Zain's operations in more than 15 countries. With lots of hard work and maneuvering over multiple efforts, it was able to today its customer base has reached more than 97 million in African continent. Moving on to the business description of Airtel, with a strong vision, value and objective, it tends to cater and fulfill the needs of all its 9 key stakeholders. Airtel's service portfolio comprises of 6 segments, with majority of revenue coming alone from mobile services in India, South Asia, then followed by mobile services in Africa, later followed by Airtel Business and the tower infrastructure. Airtel has a very unique business model where it caters the business model with the inputs which are obtained from 6 different sources, namely the financial, intellectual, human, manufactured, social and relationship capital, and the natural capital as well. Its main business model tends to focus on acquiring brilliant network and serving their customers digitally, and focusing on scientific micro-marketing techniques, and it tends to provide an open platform for its customers, creating a very unique value. Moving on to the segment-wise performance, comparing all the 6 segments, Airtel has seen a dip in its revenue of mobile services India and South Asia as well as the home services, but this dip has been offset by other segments revenue increase, majorly from mobile services Africa, digital TV, Airtel Business and the tower infrastructure. Airtel has a global presence, as mentioned earlier, in 16 countries spread across Asia and Africa. It also has its network presence in more than 15 countries with over 7 Gbps satellite capacity. Moving on to the management and corporate governance, Bharti Airtel is always known for the highest standards and principles of corporate governance. It has also received the Global Peacock Award for Excellence, and it has been rated GVC Level 1 by CRISIL for its high standards of corporate governance. We also see that the shareholding pattern, it is taken up majority by the promoter and promoter group with 67.14%, so we can expect a better decision making and the management as well. The board comprises of 11 members, the chairman, the MD and CEO, 3 non-executive directors and 6 independent directors. The committees of board are majorly, they have 9 committees on the board, and 6 of them being the primary ones and 3 being the secondary ones. The 6 primary ones are Audit Committee, Nomination and Remuneration Committee, Stakeholder Committee, CSR Committee, Committee of Directors, and the last one being the Risk Management Committee. They also have a unique risk identification process which is run by the Risk Management Committee, and it is also answerable to the Audit Committee. All the committees are in conformity with the provisions of the Companies Act 2013, and it is also in conformity to the FDI guidelines and SEBI rules and the listing regulations. They also have a whistleblower mechanism in their code of conduct, which keeps a check on the fraud and the unethical behavior happening. All the related party transactions which had happened in the past was also done on arm's length basis. Moving on to the industry overview, the Indian telecom market is second largest in global terms. It is basically divided into three parts, three segments, that is mobile, fixed line and internet services. The total subscribers has been grown at a CAGR of 17.44% in the segment of mobile wired segment, and even when it comes to wireline and wireless in both rural and urban, the penetration is growing at a very faster rate. Not just the mobile segment, even the wireless subscription and the broadband and internet subscription has grown from 18% in fiscal year 2008 to 90% in fiscal year 2018, which is very large. So the market is always providing a green bed for the players in the Indian telecom sector to grab the better position. Moving on to the competitive positioning, we see that Airtel holds second position when it comes to revenue market share, and the market leader being Vodafone Idea. You can also have a glance at the other market leaders in various other segments. Coming to the African mobile market, in Africa the mobile market is growing, but at a very gradual pace. Still, there is a lot of opportunity for the players there, and Airtel is still one of the top three telecom company in Africa. Moving on to the peer comparison, we have taken both Indian competitors as well as the global competitors. When it comes to Indian competitors, we have taken Vodafone Idea, Reliance Jio, BSNL and Tata Teleservices as well as their previous ratings. And in case of global competitors, we have considered both international players as well as African players, being MTN Group, Vodacom Group, Telecom Group and AT&T.
Moving on to the financial analysis of Bharti Airtel, we see that the revenue and EBITDA of Bharti Airtel has been declining for the past couple of quarters, with the same parameters bottoming up in the last quarter, and we have a consolidated revenue of 205 billion, up by 0.5% Q on Q, and EBITDA at 62.2 billion, down by 0.4% Q on Q. The decline in Airtel India revenue growth has been offset by a modest growth of Airtel Africa at 3.8%, and the reason for decline in EBITDA is because of the high network and access costs. Coming to key performance indicators, we see that the usage has almost increased by 190% year on year, and the number of subscribers has increased by 11 million in just a quarter's time regarding the data KPI. The ARPU has been declining, but it has bottomed up, and now it is at 104% owing to the strategies adopted like bundling plan, laddering strategy, etc. The decrease in number of subscribers to 2.84 million is because of the management policy of weeding out the non-revenue generating customers. The monthly churn at 7.3% is a concern for us. The OPEX productivity has remained constant, but there is a room for improvement, and the CAPEX productivity decline is a cause of concern for us. The ROA and ROEs has declined. This is due to the decline in the net income of Airtel. And when we go for peer comparison, we take the average values of top four players in the market, namely Vodafone Idea Limited, Reliance Infocom Jio, BSNL and Tata Teleservices, and Airtel has fared really well over the industry average. Airtel Africa has given a stellar performance with the EBITDA margin at 37.1% and revenue and EBITDA increasing at 4.5% Q on Q. Airtel has been able to successfully execute the deleveraging plan with the consolidated debt now at a point of 3.7 billion US dollars, down from $6 billion US dollars. Capital structure speaks about the net gearing ratio at 58.44%, down from 61% a year ago. The DE ratio has remained constant at 1.42x, while LTDE has remained at 1.08x. There is a fact that needs to be pointed out here. It is that the short-term borrowings has been used to pay off the long-term borrowings in the Airtel case. Going forward with the breakup of total borrowings, we see the term loan constitute 57% of the short-term borrowing, and NCDs constitute 48% of the long-term borrowings. In case of the currency, coming to the currency mix of the borrowings, we see that the majority of borrowings, more than half of the borrowings have been made in INR and 1/3 has been made in US dollars. It is the policy of company to do the transaction in the functional currency, and all the risks are hedged using interest rate swap and currency derivatives. Going forward, we see that the DSCR and ICR of Bharti Airtel has been dipping. The main reason for is the decrease in the free cash flow of Airtel, and net debt to EBITDA is much lower compared to the industrial average, which is a positive note. And the WACC for Airtel is at 10.4%, which is less than industry average of 10.5%. And Airtel has been able to reduce the finance cost by 6.9% quarter on quarter on account of higher investment income and owing to derivative and exchange gain in the last quarter. Going over liquidity performance, the asset turnover ratio, CFO to sales, CFO to debt and CFO to EBITDA has fared better compared to the industry average. The current ratio and quick ratio has gone for a dip in the past couple of quarters, but it has seen an improvement in the last specific quarter. The dip in current ratio is due to the fact that the short-term borrowings have increased and it is used to fund the long-term borrowings. The company believes in the fact that the cash and cash equivalents and the cash flow from operations are enough to tide over the liquidity requirements. Another fact that needs to be pointed out is the decrease in the free cash flow, that is due to the increased capital expenditure of the company. Quarterly financial performance shows that the DE ratio has declined to 1.45 and the EBITDA decline is due to the increase in access cost and network cost at 21 and 25% on year-on-year basis. CRISIL and ICRA has downgraded the rating on Bharti Airtel to AA stable from AA plus negative due to the fact that Airtel is under excess leverage and it is facing continued pricing pressure from the telecom industry. We have divided the key rating drivers into positives and negative drivers. The positive drivers being the management effectiveness and proactive strategies like bundling plans, laddering strategies, war on waste, etc. Airtel is gifted with the diversified presence across the geographies and segments, and Airtel is trying to garner revenue from other segments like B2B, IoT, cybersecurity, etc. The KPIs for Bharti Airtel are really strong except in case of churn, and Bharti Airtel is focusing on deleveraging. The most prominent among negative growth drivers are the continued competitive industry and continued pricing pressure. The KPI like churn etc. needs to be decreased by adopting measures like customer retention and stickiness. High leverage is the need of the hour for Bharti Airtel in order to account for 4G capabilities and increased network capabilities, and the company has to follow a deleveraging plan for the same. Cost control is another factor. But that can be brought to control by doing automation, digitization and process re-engineering. The last one is a fact that plagues the entire industry, that is the regulatory changes and technological risks. This is a glance of the investment summary with the main point being the investment by Qatar Investment Authority for $200 million in Airtel Africa, and subsequent being the investment of $1.2 billion by PE investors in Airtel Africa. Moving forward, we have done a credit rating model, and the first one is Altman Z-score. We have calculated the Z-score for Bharti Airtel and compared it with one of the prominent competitors, that is Vodafone Idea. After that, we have calculated the probability of default using KNB model, and we see that 0.232% probability of default for the year 2018. The spike from 2007 to 2018 is because of the increase in short-term borrowings by 50%. And the credit rating metrics has been designed as follows. We have jotted down 6 factors for the credit rating, and we have assigned weights of 10 to 20% in order for a fair representation. And moving on through factors, we see the scale of operation, and we focus the revenue as 816 and 882 billion, and improvement in EBITDA margin to 5.8 and 6.2 billion for 2019 and 20. So this is a healthy performance, and we accord AA rating. Business profile, as discussed, solicit AAA rating. Profitability and efficiency, for this we recommend AA rating on the fact that ROE and ROA are dipping and current ratio and quick ratios are optimal. The coverage ratios hold 15% and we accord A rating for that on the fact that DSCR and ICRs are on a decline. Leverage ratios are given 20% and we recommend AA rating. That is because there is a diversified debt profile, a decreasing gearing ratio and optimal debt to equity and long-term debt to equity ratios. The financial policies are stellar. That is because of deleveraging and cost control factors. Hence, we affirm a AA rating for Bharti Airtel. The downgradation, we are not planning to downgrade the rating for Bharti Airtel because Airtel is going to a turbulent period as far as the market is concerned, and the financials are not that strong enough to accord them a upgradation. We are not downgrading them either because Airtel has fared really well compared to the peers. And Airtel is very efficient in rolling out strategies like Project Next, Project Leap, growing high ARPU customers, deleveraging, etc. Thus,
we as Team 242 reaffirm AA rating with a negative outlook for Bharti Airtel Limited. Thank you.